everybody, it's Lucy, and today I want to share with you guys 10 Christian indie artists that I've been really enjoying, and just some music recommendations for you guys outside of the ordinary Christian worship that you may hear on the radio or you just sing at church. It's really cool to listen to like music of all forms rather than the traditional worship that you hear, and just see that the way that these artists express their praise and worship to God is just really cool because it's outside of the ordinary. There is a playlist on my Spotify, which I will link down below, called Hipster Jesus Music, with many of these artists and a lot more. So if you're interested in checking out some cool indie Christian music, it is down in the link below. Alright, so let's get into it. Number 1 is this artist called Jonathan Ogden. Not sure if I said his name right, but he is a singer-songwriter from Manchester in England, and he is part of this band called Rivers and Robots, which is an awesome indie Christian band. But he makes music on his own as well, and he just has a really good sound. His music is very soft yet very electro, and just very groovy with a lot of jazz influence into it. And I just really like how his voice and his production is so simple, but it sounds so beautiful. Number 2 is this guy named Wild. He's also from England, and he was previously went by the name of This, but he just recently released a short EP of just some of his songs that he's produced / collaborated with, and he's much more of a producer than a singer, but his music is very electronic, dancey, and at first if you don't listen to the lyrics you might think that, oh, this guy is some secular dance music, but it's just a really good form of music to listen to when you're want to kind of jam out or want something more pumped up. This is a good type of Christian music to listen to. Number 3 is this guy named Monte Fish. He is a 20-year-old producer from Pittsburgh, and he produces and sings in raps kind of in his music. His production is very soulful, R&B, groovy, but at the same time I just love how it's kind of different than your normal Christian worship. And he has definitely already collaborated with Wild and Jonathan Ogden, the previous two that I mentioned, and he just, these artists, I'm sure they all work together, but it's just so good when I get to hear both of them in one track. Number 4, Regan. You might know him, or you might know his voice, because he is actually part of United Pursuit, but on his own he also makes his own music, and I would say his music is a lot more folky, a lot more indie, a lot more acoustic. I just love how he lyrically puts together his music, because it's not, I don't want to say cliche, like your cliche worship, but it's kind of a lot more, I don't know, like thought out, his lyrics, and they just kind of make you think a little bit more. And he just has like a really cool voice that kind of sounds like James Bay, if you know who that is. Number 5, Harps and Arrows. Now, they haven't really released much music, but this is an independent project done by Judah Lee, who is part of Judah and the Lions, but he wanted to have a project on his own where he would be able to make worship music to glorify God, because that's part of who he is. Immediately when I first heard about them, I was like, this guy has to be Judah, from Judah and the Lion, because they have such a distinct voice, and it's also very folky, very, I don't know, a little bit of twang country-ish, but not really, and it's very uplifting, but at the same time I think it's like a good jam song to listen to in the car, or when you're kind of just like walking outside in a park or something. Really good meditative music as well. Number 6, I love this group. They're called Sister Brother, and their music is kind of just so like very focused on the voice, and every time I listen to this song, Fascinating, it just makes me like really be in the mood to like praise God and worship Him. And their music is just very kind of ambient, but also acoustic, and they just really good like fall vibe. They have like already 2 albums out, full-length albums. I love every single song on each of their albums. I love listening to them while driving to church in the morning while the sun is kind of like rising up, because it just shows like how beautiful God is. Number 7 is this group called Young Oceans. They're from New York, and they come from a church in New York, and they're kind of like their church's worship band. But they make really, really cool music. It's kind of psychedelic almost to me, and it has like a lot of influence of like the 60s, 70s, I would definitely say. They have a really cool voice, and the lead singer has this just like really like cool breathy voice that sounds good. Number 8 is the Sing Team. They are based off of the band Citizens and Saints. One of their members, the piano player I believe, decided to form his own band with many of the Citizens and Saints people in this band. It's like a large group of people singing, and they sound very much like a Wren Collective, kind of very folky, but at the same time also really like reflective and meditative in their music, and definitely a really good group that makes really good music, and just the way that they praise God, really like inspiring. It makes you kind of happy, I would say. Number 9 is this lady called Aundrea Marie. I really love her voice. Her voice is very, like, I don't know how to explain this, very whole, but at the same time like full of bass within it, and so the first thing you hear is like her voice, and it's just so it leads her songs very well, and her songs are really minimal, but just the voice arrangement and how she sings, super awesome. And then I also want to say like she's folk, but at the same time like it's darker. It's kind of like a darker foley. Last but not least, is one of my all-time favorite bands. I have to save them for last. Is King's Kaleidoscope. I saw them in concert, and gosh, were they amazing. Their music, I don't even know like how to categorize them, because it's a different dynamic in every song. Like they got rap, a lot of brass instruments, a lot of jazz influence, but at the same time it's like very electro, and the lead guy that sings, like his voice is just so like it's a dynamic. It's a lot of range, and their new album just came out this late summer, and I love every single song on it, and Rain is my favorite. Like every song, you can feel the emotion that went into it and what they're singing about to God. And I just love how it's a different form of relationship with God. So these are my top 10 favorite indie Christian artists that I'm really enjoying right now, and let me know if you like any of them. I definitely want to do more of these recommendation videos in the future, so let me know if you want to see more of that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye!